lot of people are going to be out there swimming trying to stay cool, but recently the CDC says drowning rates are on the rise in our country, with more than 4,500 deaths between the years 2020 and 22.
And of course, we've just seen a couple this weekend, so we've seen the impacts, and here to tell us what we can do is Dr. Melissa Kwan from UTHealth Houston. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Obviously, swimming lessons are really, really important. When can we start children in swimming lessons?
So we can start kids in swimming lessons starting about the age of 1. Between the age of 1 and 4 is when we love to see kids start swimming lessons. But really it depends on their developmental stages, how comfortable they are in the water. But the sooner the better. And at those early stages, it's really about just getting those water competency, life-saving skills of floating and getting to the side and being able to get out.
It's amazing what they can teach a little one of how to flip over on their back and float. It's incredible.
Absolutely, and that's life-saving though. That gives you time to get to that child. That's a time to make sure that they can just be rescued. And any little bit amount of time is really important.
When you think about 4,500 people who've lost their lives in just the past few years to drowning, and think about all the people that affects and how devastating it can be, it seems like a lot of time with children, the thing that we hear the most is, I just glanced away for a minute. And so what are some prevention tips to make sure that no other family has to deal with this?
So we love families to have barriers set up. That means fences. And well, a good 3-sided fence that kind of surrounds your home is really important. A 4-sided fence that surrounds your pool entirely can actually reduce a child's risk of drowning by 83%, which is a huge, huge, huge safety factor and a way to keep kids safe. Something else that is helpful is just starting swim lessons and learning that water competency. Other things that are helpful are supervision. That supervision is so important as well. And we like to use touch supervision, meaning that you want someone to be close enough who cannot swim and who's a toddler or baby to be close enough to be able to touch them and be able to rescue them. And then the other aspect of that is what we call water watchers. Just someone who's just designated to watch the pool, not be distracted, not do
no
anything.
phones, you can't look down.
No, no phones, no social media, nothing like that, and no talking to even other adults. Your job is to watch the pool entirely. Other things are like life jackets and then knowing CPR as well.
What should you do though if your child really just isn't a strong swimmer? I mean, is it just you don't get into the water, or what do you do?
So if your child's not a strong swimmer, absolutely, they can get in the water, because getting comfortable in the water is a huge important part of that. But part of that is also being close to them, working on that touch supervision. If they aren't a strong swimmer, they can be wearing a life jacket. We don't love life jackets all the time, but we want them to be safe. And so if you know you have several kids in the pool, make sure that child that maybe isn't your strongest swimmer is in a life jacket, and that can give you a little bit of safety, but you still should be close enough to touch. Also just doing other education. There's education that you can find online. One that's easy to access is like Daniel Tiger has a great water safety episode. And then also there's an organization called Collins Hope, which is excellent, and they have an online education course for families as well.
And I sometimes see children who I feel like might not be that strong of a swimmer, and they just have little floaties around their arms, and people need to realize that is not a safety prevention, right? That can help them float if you're near, but not on their own.
Right. We recommend U.S. Coast Guard approved life jackets. Those arm floaties, pool floaties, rings, things like that, those don't substitute for a good solid life jacket that's been Coast Guard approved and is fit appropriately based on their weight, based on their size, based on their age as well.
And the key is to practice too. Don't just, once you learn, you got to practice so that you're ready.
Absolutely. And so swim lessons, especially in the summer, are great, but swim lessons year-round are really important for keeping those skills up as well.
All right. Doctor, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, helpful info. You never know in a conversation like this. Today could end up saving a life, so it's valuable info. Thanks again from UTHealth. All right.